make any more corrections. Okay, so if I already checked your homework, perfect. Listen to my recommendations, listen to my advice, and send the homework again. Okay, well, today we're going to continue practicing with the conditionals, and we're going to sorry, oh my goodness, and we are going to practice with uh, one, two, three more things besides the conditionals. Hopefully we have time to practice the three things that I have planned today. If not, well, we continue on Friday, even though on Friday I also have planned to do more things, because I would like to finish the grammar this week. Hopefully we can finish the grammar this week. Okay, so let's get going. Let's get going, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. In last class, we were talking about the third and the second conditional. You remember? The second and the third conditional, right? We talk about the first and the zero conditional, but we said that the second and the third are more important, and you already saw that many questions in the exam are about second, third conditional, and past perfect. They are the most important topics. So let's practice these topics because they are pretty important. The first, here we have an activity. Remember, or who remembers, who can say what is, or like from you guys, from you six, who can say what is the structure that we follow for the second conditional? The if clause. In what tense should we use the if clause? In simple past. Very good. Very good. Yes, the if clause goes in simple past. Right. And the following, the consequence, what tense should be at in? Yes, with a modal verb, right? That it can be would, it can be should, it can be might, it can be could. Excellent. It can be may, sorry, may, not might. So here we have some sentences that we need to complete. Let's do they are 10. Let's do the first 5 together, and then the number 6 to number 10 you do it by your own. So in the first one it says if I we said that we can use was or we can use where. Both of them are possible. You remember? We said that was, we use it more. Who remembers in what cases do we use was? Yes, was is more formal and we use it more for written English. And where is more informal and we use it more for spoken English. Okay? Perfect, everyone. Okay, let's get going. So if I were you, and here we can use a modal verb, right? In this case, we have get a new job. So I could say, I could get a good job, a new job. I should get a new job, or I would, as you said, get a new job. Very good. Okay, in the number two says if he, and one more time we can say was or we can say where, and younger he could travel, should travel, may travel, or would travel. Travel is okay. Okay. Now we say if we, and here we have a not. You see, it says not, right? So in this case that it says not, we might say if I was not or wasn't, or sorry, in this case we cannot say was because it's plural. So in this case should be only weren't, right? If we weren't friends, I would be angry, right? I would be angry, right? What about number four? Who helps me with number four? If I had enough money, yes. I Would buy. Excellent. Yes, excellent, everyone. Good job. Okay, all right. Well, you're pretty smart, or you are pretty smart, or this is very easy. I bet that you are very smart. Okay, I bet that you are very smart. So, number five says if she wasn't or if she weren't, not a problem. Uh-huh. We always so late. She would be promoted. Good job. Okay, everyone. Now let's get going. Number 6 to number 10. Please, you do it by yourself. Remember, you write 1 and then the answer, 2 and then the answer, 3 and then the answer, 6 the answer, 7 the answer, 8 the answer, etc. Yes, in all the cases, I repeat, you can use any of the models. You can use would, should, could, may, right? Those are the models that we can use, right? It's not that you have to use would all the time. Mhm. Let's do it. Okay, Yvonne says that the number 6 should be, let me see. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. It's right here. One would travel, had would, spoke could, live would, pass would be. He spoke. Okay, good job. It seems everything all right. Let's wait a little bit for the others. Good. Excellent. All right. So let's check. It says if we won the lottery, We would travel the world, or we could travel the world, right? Or we should travel the world, or we might travel the world. It's okay. If you had a better job, we would be able to buy a new car, or we could be able to buy a new car, or we might be able to buy a new car, or we should be able to buy a new car. It's okay. If I spoke perfect English, I would have a good job, could have a good job, should have a good job, may have a good job. If we live in Mexico, I would speak Spanish, could speak Spanish, should speak Spanish, may speak Spanish. If she passed the exam, she would be able to enter the university, should be able, could be able, may be able. Excellent. Any of your answers or all of your answers were correct. Fantastic. Okay, let's get going with the next activity. This was about the second conditional. Now let's do something about the third conditional. Okay, check it out, everyone, because this is the last time we are talking about the conditionals and about the past perfect. We are going to move to new topics after this activity. So if you still have any doubts, you mention them, please. Okay. So in this activity we have, if you and then we have third conditional. When we use third conditional, the if clause, everyone, how or in what tense should we write the if clause? In past perfect. Excellent. In past perfect. And then the following clause, the consequence, it's a perfect modal. Yes, a perfect modal. It means that it's the modal verb have and then the past participle. Perfect. So, for example, for example, perfect conditional. Sorry. No, no, Marisela, it's not called perfect conditional. It's called perfect modal. It's a modal verb have and past participle. Okay, that's the way. For example, look at this. If you, the first one, not be late. So the if clause should be in past perfect. So if you had not, or if you hadn't, we're going to write hadn't to make it short, hadn't been late. We not miss the bus. We, and this is a modal verb. Modal verb would, and then since it's perfect modal, we use would have, right? And then past participle, missed the bus, right? We should do it like that. If you hadn't been late, we would have not, right? It should say not miss the bus. Now we can make a contraction here with would have, and we can say we would have not missed the bus, like that. You see? Okay, let's try the number two. In the number two, it says if she what? If she had studied, yes. She, she what? We can use would, could, should, may. She would have passed. She would have passed. Yes, I'm gonna use could have. She could have passed the exam, right? So it says, si ella hubiera estudiado, ella podría haber pasado el examen. Mhm. She could have passed the exam. That's the way. You see? Okay. Now let's try the number three. In number three, we have if we mm, had arrived. Yes. If we had arrived earlier, right, we would have seen, or we could have seen John, right? Mhm. That's the way. We would have seen. If they had gone to bed early, they what? Okay. Listen, in this case, the not goes after would, right? The not goes after would. You say they would not have walken. The not goes after would, right? Mhm. Okay, in the number six, couldn't have. Yes, couldn't have. It's okay too. The number five, he had becoming. No, becoming is not the past participle of become. Become, became, become. If he had become a musician, he would have record recorded SED. Okay. Okay, please you do number six to number 10 by yourself. Good. Okay. Good. All right, everyone. Very good job. Mhm. Okay. So we said in the number six, if she, as you said, if she had, oh my goodness, what did I do? If she had gone to school, she would have become mhm, a painter. If I had been born in a different country, I would have learned. That's the past participle of learned. Learned can be learned with ed too. Yes, it can. If I had gone to university, if she had gone to university, she would have studied. If we had not or hadn't gone to the party, we would or wouldn't have met. Mhm. And the last one was if he had taken the job, he would or wouldn't have gone traveling. Uh huh. Those were the answers, everyone. Good job to all of you. Seems that you have no problems with this, and seems that everything is perfect with third and second conditional, right? No problem? No, no problem. Excellent. Let's get going, okay? All right. Let's move on to another topic. Let's move on to another topic. Okay, today we're going to talk about a topic that is mm, mm, let's say that it's not difficult, but it's not very common, right? It's a very advanced topic, right? It's an advanced topic. It's part of an advanced level, and it's not that it's difficult. It's just that it's not very common. And this topic is about the inversions, or what is also called the inverted word order, right? Inversions or inverted word order. Okay, let's talk about this. It says inversions, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to read this quickly. It says, we use inversions in several different situations in English. Mhm. Inversions just means putting the verb before the subject. We usually do it in questions form. For example, normal sentence. Are you tired? The subject is you. So it's before the verb are, right? So in a normal sentence, sorry, when we say are you are tired, right? You are tired here. You subject, there are, right? But when we make it a question, we say are you tired? And the verb are is before the subject you. They change places, and this is called an inversion, right? When we change the place of the verb and the subject. The regular form is subject verb, but when we change it, We invert it. It's called an inversion. Okay? So we usually do it in questions. In most English verb tenses, when we want to use an inversion, we just move the verb to before the subject. If there's more than one verb, because the verb tense has an auxiliary verb, for example, we move the first verb, right? So if the verb has an auxiliary verb, we move the auxiliary verb or the modal verb, right? For example, here we have, there are two verb tenses where we just change the places of the verb at the subject. The present simple, for example, of the verb be, I am, we change it for am I. You are for are you. Is he for, sorry, he is for is he. The past, you were you. She was she. With other verb tenses, we change the place of the subject and the auxiliary verb. The first auxiliary verb if there is more than one. We don't move the other parts of the verb. For example, the first auxiliary verb, you have I am going, so we don't move going, we move am and we say am I going. You are going, we move are and we say are you going. Was he going? Have we gone? Has she been going? For example, here he has two auxiliary verbs, has, been. We only move has. Had you gone? Had he been going? Will they go? Will you be going? Etc. So this what we see here are the examples of how the inverted word order works. And usually we use this usually for questions, right? For example, when we have modal verbs like will they go? Will you be going? Will he have gone for future perfect? Will she have been going? Should I go? Would you go? Right? Okay. Now look at this. There are two tenses where we need to add do and does, or do, does, or did to make the question form. This is usually still called an inversion. Even though you use extra verbs, it's also called an inversion. For example, in simple present, right, we use do you go or does he go, right? Past simple with any verb except be, add did. For example, did we go or did they go? Like in the questions, like in any other question, right? Okay. So you check that? It's very clear, right? It's very easy. We do this like when we work with questions, right? Not a problem. Easy. Inversions, we change the verb tenses, we use the auxiliaries like the questions. Okay, now look at this. This is very important. This is the key of everything. Now, when do we use inversions? Right? Of course, we use inversions in questions, but we also sometimes use inversions in other cases. This is the important thing. When we are not making a question, for example, when we use a negative adverb or adverb phrase at the beginning of the sentence. You see? When you use a negative adverb or adverb phrase at the beginning of the sentence. You see? Usually, we put the expression at the beginning of the sentence to emphasize, right? So all of these examples that we are going to mention are because we want to make some emphasis. We want to emphasize something in the sentence. So we want to emphasize what we are saying. It makes our sentence sound surprising or striking or unusual. It also sounds quite formal. So we use inversions when we want to sound surprising, but we also when we want to sound formal. If you don't want to give this impression, you can put the negative expression later in the sentence in the formal way. Look, seldom. What is seldom? Who can tell me? And seldom is an adverb. It's an adverb of frequency, like rarely, right? So sometimes we use the adverbs at the beginning, right? When we want to make emphasis. The adverbs are usually at the end. So we usually say, I seldom go to the movies, right? In this case, they are subject, and then the frequency adverb. But if you put it at the beginning because you want to make emphasis, then when you put it at the beginning, you need to use inversions. You see? For example, seldom have I seen such a beautiful work. You see? Seldom, the regular form, let me write the regular form, is, the regular form is, I have seldom seen such a beautiful work. That is the regular way, right? That is the regular way. Is the way we usually say it. But if you want to sound more formal and you want to make more emphasis, then you put seldom at the beginning. But when you put seldom at the beginning, you need to use an inversion. You need to use inverted word order. And then you change the auxiliary at the before the subject. So you say, seldom have I seen such a beautiful work. You see? Seldom is at the beginning of the sentence. At the beginning. So we use inversions. This sentence emphasizes what beautiful work it is. You see? Oh, here is the way it is regularly. I have seldom seen such a beautiful work. Seldom is the normal is in the normal place, so we don't use inversions. This normal sentence with no special emphasis. Okay? We only use inversions when the adverb modifies the whole phrase and not when it modifies the noun. Hardly anyone passed the exam. Here, no inversions. Why not? Because here, the adverb hardly is modifying anyone. So refers, the adverb hardly refers only to anyone, right? Refers only to anyone. It doesn't modify the whole sentence. It just modifies anyone. But here, seldom, when we put it at the beginning, gives an emphasis to the whole sentence. An example, for example, if you say here, hardly anyone passed the exam, the regular form, or usually we might say something like, if you say, for example, I hardly passed the exam, this is different, right? This is a different sentence. Here it says hardly anyone passed the exam. So it means that almost nobody passed the exam. Or you say I hardly passed the exam, it means that I almost didn't pass the exam. If I put hardly at the beginning, I can say hardly that I pass the exam. So I put hardly at the beginning to make more emphasis, and then I say hardly did I pass the exam. I use inverted word order in this case, right? Because hardly is at the beginning because it's making more emphasis. So since I use inverted word order means that I need to use it like a question, like the regular way we make questions. And what's the regular way we make questions? Well, auxiliary, person, verb. You see? Okay, give me. I'm really sorry, guys, for the interruption. Someone was knocking my door. Sorry, sorry. Okay, are we going okay? Are you still here? Yes? Excellent. So everything is okay until here? You got it? Yes? Everything looks perfect? Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Now, look, here are some negative adverbs and adverb phrases we often use with inversions, right? For example, hardly. Hardly had I got into bed when the phone rang. Never had she seen such a beautiful sight before. Seldom do we see such an amazing display. We can practically use any adverb, any adverb. We can practically use any adverb at the beginning. For example, here you have uh, other adverbs like rarely, only then, not only but, no sooner, scarcely, only later, nowhere, little, only on this way, in no way, on no account. Mhm. And you have there some examples. For example, rarely will you hear such beautiful music. Only then did I understand why the tragedy had happened. Not only does he love chocolate and sweets, but he also smokes. No sooner had we arrived home than the police rang the doorbell. Scarcely had I got off the bus when it crashed into the back of the car. Only later did she really think about the situation. Nowhere have I ever had such a bad service. Little did he know. Only in this way could John earn enough money to survive. In no way do I agree with what you're saying. On no account should you do. So the important thing here is to understand that the way we use it or the way the words are arranged is the same way that we arrange them for questions. It's exactly the same way. And what we are doing is that we are putting them in that way, in that order. It's not a question, but we do it to make emphasis, right? And we do it when we use adverbs at the beginning to make emphasis, strong emphasis. We have other expressions. In the following expression, the inversion comes in the second part of the sentence. Look at this expression. In this expression, the inversion comes at the end. But I'm going to explain you why. Look, it says, not until I saw John with my own eyes did I really believe he was saved. Not until. Look at this. This is called, this is called, all of this is called an adverbial phrase. Mhm. Phrase. Why is it called an adverbial phrase? Because we cannot separate it, right? It's a whole phrase. It goes all together, right? It goes all together. If you separate it, then it doesn't express the same meaning, right? You need to keep it together, right? So it says, not until I saw John with my own eyes. You cannot say, not until did I really believe I saw John. It doesn't make sense. It needs to be all together. It is an adverbial phrase. And that's why the inverted word order goes after the adverbial phrase. Mhm. It's like only in this way is also an adverbial phrase. Only is an adverb, but it goes together with in this way. On no account, in no way, they are also adverbial phrases. It says not since Lucy left college is the whole phrase together. Had she had. Only after I had seen her flat did I understand why she went to live there. Only when with or arrive home did I feel calm. Only by working extremely hard could we afford to eat. You see? Are we okay? Okay, okay. You say yes. In the activities, I wanna see that. I wanna see that. Okay. We can use inversions instead of if in conditionals. Oh my goodness, this is getting really interesting. And we had where and should. This is quiet formal, right? Normal conditional. If I had been there, this problem wouldn't have happened. Mhm. Conditional with inversion. Had I been there, this problem wouldn't have happened. What can you see in these two examples? What can you see? What can you see as a difference? There is a big difference that you need to consider in these two examples. There is a strong difference in between these two examples. Yes, it doesn't have any if. When you use inverted word order, you delete if, right? For example, in that case, had I been there, this problem wouldn't have happened. It's exactly the same idea, but you are not using if. Mhm. Look at the other. If we had arrived sooner, we could have prevented this strategy. Had we arrived sooner, we could have prevented this strategy. Uh-huh. We have more examples like this. Mhm. It says we can use inversions if we put adverbial expressions of place at the beginning of the sentence. Mhm. On this, this is also quite formal. You know, usually we say person, verb, complement, and in the complement we usually have the place, right? But if you change and you use the place at the beginning, you use inverted word order. For example, on the table was all the money we had lost. Mhm. In a normal sentence, all the money we had lost was on the table. Mhm. Round the corner came the knights. Normal sentence, the knights came round the corner. You see? Now look at this. Look at this. Round the corner came the knights. You can say came the knights. You can say round the corner did the knights come. It's also correct. Like questions. We can use inversions after so and the adjective. For example, so beautiful was the girl. You're making strong emphasis. You usually say the girl was so beautiful. So you change it. So beautiful was the girl that nobody could talk of anything else. So delicious was the food that we ate every last bit. You see? How do you like this? Is it easy? Sounds easy? Is it difficult or easy? It's difficult. Okay. In conclusion, okay, in conclusion, number one, we use inversions when we express formal language, right? And when we want to make emphasis, okay? All right? This is the first thing. This is to make emphasis and for very formal language. Number two, inversions is putting the words in the same way that we put them when we make questions. So the form of the words is in the same way that we put them when we make questions. Okay? All right. And that's it. You just put the words like you when you make questions. And well, the number three idea is that when we do this, we have the places at the beginning or the adverbs at the beginning or adverbial expressions at the beginning. Okay? Can be expressions for frequency, can be expressions for place, whatever. It's okay. Let's try some activities, okay? Hopefully, in the activities, you clear up your doubts. Let's practice. Okay, look at this. Rephrase the following sentences beginning with the words given, right? We have, you cannot have a party under no circumstances. What? Under no circumstances. What? Well, we need to put it like a question. And when we make a question, we usually say, can you have a party? Can you have a party? Right? But in this case, it's not a question. It's a sentence, but it's a sentence where we are making a strong emphasis. So it says, under no circumstances can you have a party. You see? It says, they arrived at the house. They realized they had left the keys. Not until they arrived at the house. Not until. Not until what? We need to make it like a question. If you make a question with they arrived, the question would be yes. Not until did they arrive. Not until did they arrive mhm, at the house, they realized they had left the keys there. Sorry. Let's see the number three. Alicia rarely goes out. Only occasionally. Yes, that's Alicia go out. Only occasionally does Alicia go out. Try number four, five, and six. Okay, good job. It seems really good. Let's see. It says, are the students allowed did the program intensify? Kitchana have never didn't understand students allowed. We have different. We have different answers. Okay. Huh. Okay. Look, students are not allowed to use dictionaries. Never. It's already negative. It's already negative, ladies and gentlemen. So since never is already negative, we don't use aren't. We only use are. Mhm. Students never are students. Mhm. Allowed like that. Mhm. We don't say never aren't because never is already negative. Okay? We don't say did or didn't because we are using the verb to be, and with the verb to be you don't use did, okay, or any other. In this case is are students allowed? No, are not, because we have never, and never is already negative. Okay. The problems intensified when he came home. No sooner did he come home. Mhm. No sooner did he come home, the problems intensified. Mhm. Did he come home? Mhm. Okay, and the last one, never, one more time, Shona could never have given your money. Never could Shona have given your money. Okay? We use it. Now remember, we use it, or what we are doing is changing the sentences the same way which we use them like questions. If you have could, you use could. If you have verb to be, you use verb to be. You don't change anything. You just use them, or you just make them like if you were making questions. Okay? All right, let's try another activity. Is it okay? All right, let's try another. Okay? Look at this. Change the sentences so that they use inversions. For example, we hardly arrived when Julie brought into the house. Hardly had we arrived when Julie brought into the house. Look at the second one. Look at the first one. Sorry. John had never been John had never been to such a fantastic restaurant. If you make it an inversion, how would you make it? Well, you need to use the adverbial phrase at the beginning. Mhm. In this case, it's never. We may use never at the beginning. Now we use it as a question, and the question this is in past perfect, so it must start with had. Never had John been to such a fantastic restaurant. And that's how it goes. See? What about the number two? Who can tell me how the number two should start? How do we start number two? How should it be? In no way. I in no way want to associate with this project. In no way. Okay, good. So we say in no way. And since we say in no way what? Well, this is want to be associated. So in no way what? Yes, Mary has the correct answer. Yvonne too. Good job. In no way do I, because here we're using want. So I say, do I want to be associated? In no way do I want to be associated. Okay? Number three, they had no sooner eaten dinner than the ceiling crashed onto the dinner table. So we start with no sooner had they eaten dinner. Mhm. Then the ceiling crashed in onto the dining table. Mhm. All right. Try number four. Number four. Only number four by yourself, please. We're gonna do it one by one. Okay. Good job. Scarcely had I finished writing my essay. Good job. Good job. Scarcely had I finished writing my essay. What about number 5? Seldom do I leave my house so early. Yes, good job. Okay, seldom do I leave my house so early. Good job. What about number 6? Rarely do people appreciate. Good job. Good job. You got it. You got it. You see, it was not difficult. What about number 7? Only later would people understand. Good job. Good job. Only later would people understand. Good. 8. Nowhere before had they met such rude people. 9. Little did he understand about the situation. Great. The last one. On no account should the children go on their own. Good job. That's the way. Okay? Perfect. That was awesome. Very good job. Okay, let's try something before we go to the next topic or to the next activity. Let's try something from the exam. Let me just look for it because I don't have it labeled. Okay, where is it? Give me a sec. I'm trying to find it. Mm-hmm. Okay, here I said. Look at this one, okay? Look at this one and tell me, this is from the exam, so you need to tell me what is the correct answer for this. What is the correct answer? Okay. I'm trying to find if there is any other question about this topic in the exam, but I think this is the only question in the exam about this topic. The most questions are about the conditionals and about past perfect. Mm, yeah, there's nothing more. This is the only one. Okay. All of you said 3, Claudia 3, Mary 3, Yvonne 3, Monica 3, Mary woohoo. Okay. And the answer, yes, the correct answer is number 3. Little does the company owner know that his employees have been working slower to submit more hours of work. Good job. It's excellent. It's excellent. Yes, it's good job. Great. That's the answer. It's number 3. The letter D. Number 3, that was the answer. Okay? All right. Let's check another topic. This is the only question about this topic. Actually, previously we had another exam, and also they didn't have many questions about this topic. They had only one or two, I guess. It's not a topic that includes many questions. If my recommendation is to care more about the conditionals and past perfect. Those are the topics that have more questions, as you saw yesterday. Mhm. Okay, let's talk about another topic. We're going to talk about this right here. It says, we have right here. It says, would rather, would prefer, or prefer. When do we use this? Look, specific preferences. Okay, we have here three expressions. Okay, we have the expression would rather, we have the expression would prefer, and we have the expression prefer. The three expressions express the same idea, which is a preferences. It's preference. Okay, but these three expressions are used for a different thing. For example, when we express a specific preference, we use would prefer or would rather. For example, when we speak about specific preference or preference now, we use would rather and would prefer. They have the same meaning and are interchangeable. It says would rather can be abbreviated to rather, and would prefer can be abbreviated to preferred. We went to the theater yesterday. Today, I would rather go to the cinema. I would rather go to the cinema. You see? We went to the theater yesterday. Today, I would prefer to go to the cinema. So you can use would rather, would prefer, no problem. It's the same. I'd rather go to the cinema. I prefer to go to the cinema. What is the difference between would rather and would prefer? Who noticed the difference? Who notices the difference? Who can tell me the difference between prefer and rather? There is one little difference. Yes, would rather is followed by the infinitive without to. Would rather is only the simple form of the verb. Would rather go. But would prefer is followed by to plus the infinitive. For example, you say, I'd rather have fruit juice. I prefer to have fruit juice. I prefer fruit juice, noun, verb. In this case, you don't have the verb, you see? There is no verb. You only say, I prefer fruit juice, right? But if you have the verb, you need to say to have. You see? Say would rather than, or would prefer. Like when you use would rather, you can say would rather than. When we say would prefer rather than, this is another difference. Or would prefer instead of. Rather, would rather, if you are preferring or you're going to talk about something you prefer, like instead of another thing, and you're using would rather, you say, I would rather prefer, for example, I would rather prefer pizza than hamburgers. Or I would rather, I would rather pizza than hamburgers. I would rather prefer. Forget about that. I would rather I would rather eat pizza than hamburgers. Okay, I would rather eat pizza than hamburgers, right? But if using prefer, you say I would prefer to eat pizza rather than hamburgers, or I would prefer to eat pizza instead of hamburgers, right? For example, it's such nice weather. I'd rather sit in the garden than watch TV. In both cases, the verbs, like in sit and watch, the verbs are in infinitive. No ing, no to. Usually they go with ing or to, but when you use rather, no ing, no to. Well, when you have such nice weather, I prefer, you use to. I prefer to sit in the garden rather than watch TV or instead of watching TV. Since you're using rather in this example, you say rather than watch TV. But since you're using instead of in this example, you say instead of watching TV. It's a rule that when you have of, you always have the verb with ing. You see? Okay? Good, good. So we use the past tense after would rather than when we speak about actions of other people, even though the action may be in the present or future. This is very important. This topic is also, well, it doesn't have as many questions as the conditionals, but it has many questions in the exam. This topic. So this all these that I mentioned right now, or all these activities that we're doing, I'm gonna send them to the WhatsApp, right? But let's check this out. Okay, first of all, remember that when you use rather, you don't use to, you use just the verb, simple form. You use prefer, you need to use to. You use rather with than, rather than. You use prefer, would prefer, rather than, would prefer, instead of. Now look at this. This is very important. We use past tense after would rather when we speak about the actions of other people. Actions other people, right? Or things or anything else, right? Even if it is in the present or future, you say them in the past. For example, I'd rather you took a taxi instead of walking. I'd rather you took a taxi. So it means that I prefer you to take the taxi, right? So if you're gonna tell, for example, your mom, I rather you took a taxi to come to my house because it's too far, right? Or you can tell your daughter, I rather you slept early today, or I rather you studied for the exam, or I'd rather you did your homework. You see? You say it in past. It doesn't matter the action is in present or future. You say it in past. The film is quite violent. I rather our children didn't watch it. I rather our children didn't watch it. I don't want them to watch it, so I rather them didn't watch it. You see? This is very important. All this is very important, and this comes in the exam certainly. We're gonna do some activities about it. Look at this other. Mhm. General preferences. Well, these were specific preferences. Would rather, would prefer. And these are general preferences. For general preferences, we use only prefer. We continue using would rather. You can use would rather for general or specific, no problem. When we talk about general preferences, we can use prefer or would rather, but not would prefer. Not would prefer. For general, not. Prefer and would rather have the same meaning. I prefer walking. You see, when you use prefer, you don't use the to. You use the ing. But when you use would prefer, you use to. You see? I would rather walk than cycle. I prefer walking to cycling. In this case, you say prefer to. I prefer dancing to playing soccer. I prefer watching TV to dancing. I prefer speaking English to speaking Spanish, right? Prefer to, okay? And with ing. It doesn't matter that you have two cycling. No, it doesn't matter because in this case, two is the word that we using to link them, right? It doesn't mean the infinitive, okay? After prefer, we use the verb in ing. After would rather, we use the infinitive without to. Prefer using a keyboard to writing with a pen, rather use a keyboard than write with a pen. We say prefer to, but would rather than. I prefer walking to driving. I would rather walk than drive. You see? Ready for the activities? Victor. He said, no, I'm not ready. Okay, summarizing. Summarizing. Would rather, would rather doesn't need to, doesn't need ing. Would prefer needs to. Prefer needs ing, right? That's pretty important. When you say would rather and you talk about other people, then you say it in past. Doesn't matter if it's future or present. This topic is pretty important. Is Anna here? No, Anna didn't come to class today, right? Anna is missing all this. All this is very important. Well, hopefully she's a bit. Choose the best answer to fill in the gaps in each of the following. This is easy because you don't need to fill in the gaps. I prefer coffee. I prefer coffee what? To, then, or from? Yes, I prefer coffee to tea. Yes, excellent. I don't fancy the theater again. I'd rather in the number two. In the number one was two. I'm gonna circle the correct answer. That was for number one. In the number two, go. Yes, in the number two, go. In number three, although I love relaxing on beaches, I think I prefer walking. Yeah, walking. I'd rather speak to him in person than to discuss, then discuss things over the phone. I prefer trains to cars. I prefer trains to cars. Yes. I'm not a big fan of cars. I prefer traveling by train. Yes. If I had a choice, I think I'd rather number seven. Are you saying number seven? Live in Paris then? They're in Paris too? Yes, yes, I guess everyone is talking about number seven. Yes, he's live in Paris than in London. Good. I'd rather have lunch inside, but I prefer remember this is I'd prefer. This is I prefer. They are different. In this case, I'd prefer is with to add. Okay? Let me see. I guess this is the answer key. Yes, this is the answer key. Okay. Ready for some activities from the exam? There we go with some activities from the exam. Activities from the exam. Activities from the exam. Um, Wait a second. I'm looking from the right activities, okay? Okay, this is one. Okay, this is one. Look at this. Okay, what about this one? What do you think? Okay. There are only two questions about this. Okay, so in this question, because I enjoy healing people, you might say, I will rather. No, this is incorrect totally. I would rather. I'd rather. No, you don't say I rather. You say I prefer, but you cannot say I rather. So this is not correct. So the correct answer is I would rather become a doctor than a liar. Good job. Okay, here is the next one. There are only two questions about this topic. What do you think? The first. Okay, let's check it out. The first, I prefer that the event center would be located. Okay. We said that after prefer, we need to use the ing. So this one is not correct because it doesn't have ing. And this one is for a specific, sorry, this is very specific, right? So I prefer is for something general. I would prefer our hotel reservations to be located. This sounds good. You have would prefer and you have to. So this sounds good. I would be preferring no because preferring is not correct. You say I would prefer our auto reservation to be located near the event center. Excellent. That's the way. What do you think? Was easy, right? Yes, it is. It is very easy. Okay, let's go to today's last topic. Today we have seen two things so far. This is the third thing we have seen. And remember that we invested more times on the conditionals past perfect as the majority of the exam. But there are some topics that I'm not going to explain you. We're just going to answer the questions. Uh, like, for example, this one is probably advanced or intermediate, upper intermediate, but there are other topics that are basic that I would just show you the questions and you give me your answers. So this is going to be the last topic for today. This last topic talks about models of suggestions and advice. We use some models of suggestions and advice, for example, should, ought to, and had better, right? These are introduction. These three verbs are modal verbs. Should, ought to, had better. Modal verbs are helping auxiliary verbs that express ideas like ability, advice, and obligation. Many modal verbs have more than one meaning. For example, they are always followed by the simple form of a verb, like Amanda should go to the doctor. This shows that the think it is a good idea for Amanda to be, that we think it is a good idea for Amanda to visit the doctor. Okay? Let's learn how we get advice. In English, speakers use modal verbs should, ought to, and had better to express that they think something is a good idea. For example, should is the most common way to give advice. But there are other ways, like we have it in affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Which should we say, I failed my test. Really? You should study harder. Your children shouldn't watch violent TV shows. I have a problem. Should I call my parents or my friends? This is we should, right? This is the way we use should, and it is to give advice. Okay? It's really cold outside. You ought to wear a warm jacket. When you use ought to, the same way you use should, you say should and the bear, you use ought to and the bear. You ought not to watch. That's a negative. Ought to is rarely used in the negative form, but if you use it in the negative, it's ought not to. Ought to is not common in question form. There is no question form for ought to. No question form. Mhm. You had better slow down. You're driving fast. Had better. When you use had better, you had better. You can use the contraction in had better and only the D and better. Okay. And you use had better and then you use the verb. Okay. You had not. You had better not forget to play. When you say had better not forget, had better not. No hadn't better. Only had better not. Your tuition, yes. If you do, the university will kick you out. Had better has no question. You see? So we use had better not, no had not better, had better not, and no question. There is a difference in the negative form as well. You can make contractions only with the verb should, not. The other two, see examples below, also know the preposition of the word not and the simple negative sentence below. The word not goes after should and had better, but in the middle of ought to. For example, you should not, you shouldn't. You ought not to, you had better not to. Should has contraction, ought not, and had better not have no contraction. Mhm. This example have the same basic advice message, but had better is a bit stronger. It includes the idea of warning something bad will happen if you do not follow my advice. For example, you you had better not forget to pay your tuition. If you forget, the university will kick you out. You had better do your homework. If you do not do your homework, the teacher will give you a low mark. You had better can be contracted with you'd better. Mhm. This is correct grammar and very common in speaking. Mhm. Some native speakers say you better, but it's incorrect. Look at this. It's incorrect. The had is necessary in good grammar. You see? Okay, in some examples, you can see the model are followed by simple form of the verbs, subject, model, basic. For example, you should study harder. Remember that ought to, like you should study harder, you'd better slow it down. This is wrong. You should to study? No. You better slowing? No. You have to? No. It's only the modal and the verb. Remember, of to is a modal verb and is followed by a simple verb. To is not an infinitive. It's only part of to. Modal subject plus basic verb. This is the case of questions, but remember only should has questions. Mhm. Summary, should is my opinion. For example, you should finish your homework. Builder should have finished by the end of the week. Should in W's questions, who should I pass the message to? What should I do? Should give an advice to myself, I should read the script on the train tomorrow. I should wash my hair. Okay, well, just remember that. Just remember we use have to, we use should, we use the verb, whether you use have to or of to for questions, and the contractions. Okay? Now let's go to one activity. Okay, we have one activity here. Well, we have here more information, but we practically saw everything. Complete this sentence with the appropriate model. My teacher told me that I review my notes. I guess it's a good idea to look at them after class. Complete this first one. What would you use? Should. It's okay. Do you think Carol, she's planning to go to Europe in summer? You can you like try to use different, okay? Not always should. Try to use different. Off to should can be good. Number three, I'm going to a party tonight. What? Should. The number three would be should. Remember that off to and had better are not used for that. For questions, our car gas tank is almost empty. And this one is better if you use had better or off to. We have to fill it up with gas, or we had better fill it up with gas soon, or we will run out of gas. Because it's a strong advice, right? If not, something bad will happen. If you're worried about getting fat, you of to not had not had okay of to not shouldn't or had better not, right? Every day you should eat healthy, right? Or you better eat healthy. Okay. Number six is really raining outside right now. My umbrella or I'll get wet. This is a strong advice, so it would be more like to use, since it's a strong advice, it's better to use of to or had better. Of not to, yes, or had better not. Is really number seven, where This is a question, so in this question we need to use should. Yes. And the last one, my doctor feels that I exercise more. Had better or off to exercise more. Very good. Excellent, everyone. Okay. Let's do some questions from the exam. Okay. And then we are done. There you go. Here we have one question from the exam. This is very easy. If you want to get if you want a higher paying job in the future, it is number one. Yes, yes, you had better go to college because has better is not correct. We don't say has better. Have better is also not correct. Okay. All right. And this one. Oh, you're going to walk a lot when visiting New York. You should wear, yes. You don't say should have worked. You don't. In this case, you should wear comfortable shoes because you're walking, right? Excellent. Good job, everyone. Excellent job. Excellent job. Okay. Well, today we finished early, 10 minutes early. Remember that you still have the homework to send me, which is